let me tell you a little bit about our Secretary of State, Jennifer Brunner. She is Ohio's first woman elected to serve as Secretary of State in the state of Ohio. So we are really honored to have her with us today. After graduating from Whetstone High School, Secretary Brunner went on to Miami University, where she received a BA in Sociology and Gerontology. This was Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, and later she received her law degree, or her JD, from Capital University School of Law. She and her husband have 3 adult children, and they all live in Columbus. I think that you all may have read just recently that she just received a really special award, and that was she was awarded the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award. It is the nation's most prestigious honor for elected officials. So think about this. We have the first woman elected Secretary of State right here in the state of Ohio. She's a Whetstone High School graduate, and she has received the most prestigious honor that any elected official can receive, the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you our Secretary of State, Mrs. Jennifer Brunner.
Well, I remember what it feels like to be sitting right where you were. 1975, when I graduated, seems like a really long time ago. My graduating class was 580 students. It was before Centennial was built, and the 2 schools that fed into this school were Dominion and Ridgeview. So I am a Clintonville kid who grew up on Glenmont, went to Glenmont Elementary, Dominion Junior High School, and then on to Whetstone. And this is a fantastic school and a great community. And I think we can all of us who've gone through Whetstone can say we've been blessed with teachers who cared very much about our well-being and about our education, and who really prepared us for the future. I know I, for one, can remember every English teacher I had from 7th grade on all the way through my senior year of high school, and it prepared me well for college. And I find it a little bit emotional, actually, to come back here and to see things very much the same, and to see you all thriving and doing well, and really moving forward and being an example for the rest of the school district. I'm very proud of all of you, and I know it's here you are in the last few days before you graduate. Thank you for being kind enough to attend today, and to be so kind to me and those of us up here today as well. What we're doing in the state of Ohio is we're kicking off a program called Grads Vote. And the idea is a very simple idea. You can see some of my staff people sitting over here to the side who have been working to make sure that this happens well, and Superintendent Harris is working so well with us. It's a really simple idea that when kids graduate from high school, when they get their diploma, they get a voter registration form. And that enables you to be registered to vote, even if you're 17 right now, as long as you'll be 18 before November 4th, which is the November, or by November 4th, which is the November general election, you can go ahead and register, and you'll be able to vote on Election Day, November 4th. Now, you know, I don't know whether a lot of your parents vote or not. I suspect that if you have been involved in kids voting, which Mr. Cabot here is the director of, that your parents probably are pretty active and make sure that they vote. But let me give you some thoughts. Really, I'm now 51 years old, but you guys are 17, 18, maybe 19 years old, and you might think, well, I'm really busy. Do I really have a lot of time to vote? What do I really know about what's going on? But it matters more for you to vote than it does for somebody my age or older, because you could vote for someone right now for county commissioner, and they could end up becoming a state senator, then maybe later on becoming a governor, then maybe later on even becoming a U.S. senator or president of the United States. The people that you vote for in the local offices right now are likely to be moving on to higher offices later on. I started out as a judge in Common Pleas Court here in Franklin County. Then I moved on and became Secretary of State. And if you think about it, go back to Texas about 20 years ago. And there's Ann Richards and George Bush running against each other for governor. Ann Richards had been the governor of Texas. George Bush was an up-and-coming guy, and he ran for governor. Now, a 20-year-old who didn't vote back then, well, here we are about 20 years later, and that person that they didn't bother to get involved in that race or even to vote in that race is now the President of the United States. Chances are they may have kids. Those kids may be in the military. They may be going to Iraq. And you see, if they had been involved back when they were 20 and at least learned about the candidates and voted, they could have had an impact that they wouldn't even realize would affect not just them, but the whole rest of the country and even the world. And I bet you don't know what happens when you've got a race between two candidates and there's a tie vote. What do you think happens? You actually flip a coin. And that's how the race is decided. So every vote does matter, and it matters immensely. And my job as Secretary of State is to supervise that election process. Every single county runs its own elections, but they take their direction from me. And you can be sure that I will work day and night to make sure that every single vote is honored and protected, and that everyone who participates in our election system will have confidence that we're doing this completely right, completely accurately, because we're in a democracy, and it's a democracy like no other in the rest of the world. And the way that we measure the health of our democracy is by participation. So don't think that your vote doesn't matter. Don't think that it's not important. Even when you're in college and you can't get back to your polling place to vote, you got two choices. You can either register, if, let's say you're going in Ohio, you can either register where you are in school, or you can get an absentee ballot, and you can actually go to my website and you can download an application for an absentee ballot. Same thing with the Franklin County Board of Elections, and you can mail it in and they'll mail you your ballot and you'll be able to vote just like anybody else. The other thing I want to make sure that you know about is that you can serve as a poll worker, and there's actually legislation going through the Ohio legislature that would allow you as a college student, if you're going to be in college, to serve as a poll worker either here in Franklin County where you live, or if you're going to school someplace else in Ohio, in that county where you're going to school. I do think we're going to see the passage of that so that we'll have that tool available to us for more poll workers and younger poll workers by this November. But at any rate, how many of you have actually served as poll workers at a polling place now? Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And I suspect that has a lot to do with your teacher, Kathy Griffin, who I know has done a lot to help you be registered to vote and to promote youth at the booth, along with the work that Kids Voting has done. So do any of you have any questions that I might be able to answer? You don't have to be shy. It's always the first question that's the hardest. And if you don't, that's really okay too. The one thing I was talking to Nino before I came down here, or came up here on stage, and the one thing to remember about college, and then I'll let you go and we'll go on to the rest of the program, is the way things are these days, you may not finish where you start because lots of kids end up transferring, and that's really okay. And I ended up changing my major 4 times. And the most important thing is that you get the degree. I started out as an art major, and then I ended up as a sociology major with gerontology emphasis. That's the study of aging. And then I went to law school. The most important thing is the education, because the education will give you the opportunities, it will open the doors, it will create the network that you need where people can help you find the jobs that you want, and it is your ticket to get ahead. So God bless all of you. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of you. Have a great time at graduation. Please register and please vote.